Okay guys, this is a big topic. I'm going to try to break it down into different parts and we could discuss it a little, but caveat, most likely what I believe is the best course of action, like I posted before, is for us to have a meeting, which would also be a discovery meeting, and delve into these different options part by part, because there's a lot of different factors. What do I mean by that? Well, for starters, my advice for somebody from the Bahamas may be different for somebody from Jamaica, or different from somebody from Barbados, or different from somebody from Zambia or the United States. It's like night and day. It's so different. You know, somebody coming out of the Bahamas, I may tell them, look, you need to get into a good university and you need to come to the US and train. Somebody coming out of Jamaica, I may say, hey, maybe you want to join their defense force, or maybe there are more options there. I don't really know. I'm just saying off the top of my head. Somebody from the United States that's a citizen, I may say, hey, you know, you can go to the Coast Guard or the Air Force or the Reserves or the Army or the Navy or the National Guard. Or I may say, hey, maybe you want to just go to university. Or I may say, hey, maybe you want to go Part 61 and pay for it yourself, or go to Sally Mae and get a loan. Like, there's so many different options depending on who you are and where you are. So that's the first thing. So now, to take it a step back, regardless of where you are, let's talk about those things. Let's talk about the advice that covers all grounds regardless of where you are. Sacrifice, purpose, and faith is what we believe in the Live and Give Foundation Incorporated, and I believe you should know if this is a part of your God-given purpose, and if it is, then you should pursue it faithfully and sacrifice towards it, which is why we say believe and work for it like you believe. And this may be a Captain Obvious moment, like, oh, duh, but I'm saying it's easy to say it and harder to do it. And so the first bit of advice would be, if you really know that this is what you want to do, go ahead and create your schedule from now. In terms of how much time are you going to be allotting to studies and to things related to pursuing your dream, and treat it like another job. Even if you have a job, guess what? You just got another one. So sacrifice, purpose, and faith, and be ready mentally to be able to endure. So prepare your mind. How do you do that? We could talk a lot about it. We've had workshops about being in the right mindset, and that's why we share pearls of wisdom that are easy to remember, the quotes where if you put those all together, you will reframe your mind into a mindset that will help you to endure, because you will encounter adversity. And let me share a power, which is a pearl of wisdom that's easy to remember. Adversity is a constant in the equation of life, so we should focus on solutions. Because the minute you start training and your car break down and this happened and that happened, a lot of people, oh, I can't make it, oh, this is all sorts of excuses. No, solutions. So there's a lot of things you can do to prepare yourself in a more philosophical, more religious, or spiritual, however you want to put it. Prepare yourself in that way first. Sacrifice, purpose, faith. Now, aside from that, more advice that covers a lot of grounds, regardless of where you're from, is time, money, and dedication. That is like an equation. You need to have all three of those in order to succeed. If you are missing one, you are not likely to succeed. You need to have all of those in aviation at the same time in order for you to get your license. Now, there's an exception. If you have the time and the dedication, but you don't have the money, you can work and sacrifice, like I did over 16 years, I might add, to hustle up the money in different ways, and then you'll have the time, the money, and the dedication all at the same time. So those are the 6 things you need to have. Imagine that each one of those 3 things was in each hand. You have time, money, dedication in one hand. You have sacrifice, purpose, faith in the other hand. That will apply to all of you regardless of where you are. So that's a little bit of advice. Now, as far as which way to go about it, you have to do an assessment of your options. The best way to get started from zero to hero is to have a clear and accurate assessment of all the options that are available to you in your unique situation. And so that's going to mean okay, if you're in the States, I can go civilian or I can go military. And so you would go down the list of all the different military branches, or do I just exit out? I recommend those things because those are great opportunities for students to get their training, to get an education, to get homes, and a lovely retirement after you retire. Retirement after you retire, yeah, of course. So anyways, the captain that I flew with just today, he's getting an extra $3,000-$4,000 a month. He retired from flying F-18s, and now he's also making a staggering amount as a captain. I'm not going to call his amount out, but I'm just saying it's a lot. That's great. Not that it's all about money. So, military. If you're from the United States and you're a citizen or a resident, you're going to write down all the different branches you might consider, and maybe you'll start to talk to recruiters, and then you'll create, I would say, create a document that weighs the pros and cons of all of those different avenues. And now on the civilian side, you can do Part 61 or you can do Part 141 to get your training. And to look at that, you're going to be listing all the schools that are in your area, some schools that are not in your area, and pricing. You know, with 61, you can pay as you go. You may decide to use a bunch of credit cards and save and that sort of stuff, or you may decide to just not pay as you go, save first and do license for license. Essentially, what I'm saying is, what we would do is look at your options, write them all down, weigh them out, and decide which one is best to your unique situation. I wouldn't want to say, hey, go this way or that way, because your life is different from everybody else's lives. Now, if you are outside of the country, this advice may be a lot different. First thing I would say is first thing I would say is network. You want to network. Second thing I would say is, if you're from outside of the country, is you want to be working as a team, because you have, maybe it's likely, depending on where you're from, you may have less opportunities. You need to counteract that. How do you counteract that? By working in groups, which is a part of why we have this organization. If you're networking and you're working in groups, you're going to get more opportunities. Be prepared. This is something that relates to everybody. Be prepared, which is what the organization is all about. You want to make sure that you are theoretically proficient, a theoretical ninja assassin, cyborg destructobot. You need to be on top of your studies, because guess what? One last thing. Most people think when you're going to become a pilot that it's just fly. But guess what? That's not what it is, my friends. It's about the theories first, chair flying first, learning. Like 90% of aviation is learned on the ground. So the major advice in going from zero to hero is making sure that you're prepared ahead of time, you know, so that all of those written exams are done ahead of time. Maybe get your ground instructor ahead of time, all of those different things. So this is a little bit general, but I'll conclude in saying, one, we can have a meeting and we can have one-on-ones and tailor fit plans based on your unique situation. And I think that's pretty much all I want to share for now. This is what, 8 minutes? Yeah, that's too long. Bye. See ya. Bye.
Study buddies, let's go.